What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Shadowfaxx. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Skady. Skady opted into the Oranos here, kind of taking a little poke here at Shadowfaxx's weakness. For those of you who do not know, Skady is one of the absolute ultimate counter-civers in Age of Mythology. He can kind of play every single civ. He plays a mean Odin, he plays a mean Oranos, he plays a mean Greek. He also plays a little bit of Egyptian to boot. So if he does feel like he needs to counter-civ, he will go in and start counter-civing. Opting into the Oranos here against the Odin, though, is an interesting decision, to say the very least. We do see the Skady also moving out onto his zebra really, really early in this game as opposed to staying on these giraffe. An interesting decision. I quite like it. The idea being that he can move back onto these giraffe and potentially shoot them underneath the town center and give himself an advantage here, as we actually see Skady dropping off of that zebra there. To be honest, what I would have done is very specific, but I would have finished this zebra off with this villager, put the villager onto the palm tree here, and then sent the villager forward to the forward zebra and put this villager onto wood afterwards, just to make sure I don't waste this hunt in my main base. But Skady feeling like it's not that important. If we take a look over at Shadowfaxx's base, what does Shadowfaxx need to kind of work out here to get above the Oranos barrier? The Oranos barrier is a real thing here for a lot of players. It's a very difficult matchup to get your head wrap your head around if you've got like a baseline understanding of how Age of Mythology is supposed to be played, and then you go ahead and play Oranos. That understanding, you just throw that in the bin. That understanding is just wrong. You throw it in the bin, and you have to start thinking about other ways to play. And the question is, has Shadowfaxx worked this one out or not? The map here, Sheltered Pass, an incredibly good map for Odin players. Why? Because you get all this hunt to start with. It's beautiful. All the hunt is forward. You get to put tons of pressure against the Oranos hunt villages and causing some real big problems for them in the game, later in the game. But we'll see how things are going to go if Shadowfaxx doesn't... Well, Shadowfaxx also wants to kind of play defensive. He doesn't have that aggressive element in his kind of play style. He's always preferring to be on the defensive rather than on the offensive. And we'll see if that's going to bite him in the bum here in this game or not, as he's sending the Olfsark forward, and it does look like he's thinking about, at the very least, dropping a forward temple here, running straight by that Skady Oracle there as a house coming. Wait, where did he put the temple? Oh, he put the temple back here. I'm not 100% sure I understand that temple in the slightest. I would have loved to have seen a forward temple here from Skady, from Shadowfaxx. If you remember, there was a game that Count von Count played against, I believe, Wiz in the qualifiers, and he showed how aggressive you can play here as Odin and really, really hurt the early game with the Oranos. If you wait on that aggression even a little bit, the Oranos player can do a whole bunch of stuff to get over that hump. As we do see Prometheus coming through, no real surprises where that's concerned there, as the villagers here chopping down the palm tree on this position here as well, jumping over onto the gold mine. I wouldn't be surprised to see this villager coming over onto food afterwards, potentially over onto the berries in order to pump out something there as well. As we do see the citizen retreating back as Shadowfaxx tried to get down a sneaky wall, but not quite able to finish that one there in time. As the Herso come through, the villagers are just going to happily move back into the main base. There is a giraffe over on this position. It's not in the best spot though, as the Skraeling going to be coming over here as well to push off of that wood line. A forest fire on this top side of the map here, forcing the Oranos player onto this wood line. Not a bad idea either. as the villager gets pushed off of that wood line for the time being, as the Valkyrie comes through, one military barracks coming down, one counter barracks coming down for Skady as well. So opting into just more of a standard opening here, as the military barracks going to be getting taken down. Imagine had Shadowfaxx gone Heimdall here, actually would have been able to cut possibly both of those buildings off, though Skady probably wouldn't have built them where he did if he saw Heimdall. Anyways, units starting to come out. We do see Termit. We've got Milo, so a very standard opener here for Skady, and Shadowfaxx here going in with the Ulfsark to start things off. Still lots of resources in the bank here for Shadowfaxx. This is not something that I like to see. I mean, maybe he's only just got his buildings up, but you definitely want to be trying in this matchup as Odin. Whatever build order you're going for, as we do see the Valor gets dropped down, whatever build order you go for as Odin, you need to be trying to hit 60 population by 6 minutes. And we'll see if Shadowfaxx is going to be able to do that. He's going for a very early Lone Wanderer here as the units are starting to pop out. We do see the Giraffe is getting eaten on this location over here. We also got berries getting grabbed by Skady. Just playing it nice and safe as the unit's going to be coming through over here onto this hunt. There is a very low HP villager here, which Skady's Prometheans might be able to take out. And in fact, they are trying to click on that one there, as the villager is going to turn around and start shanking this down. Will Skady be able to react or not, as he does decide to click the shockwave there onto that location, as this villager is getting chased down. One villager might go down there, but it looks like Shadowfaxx's micro too strong, as that villager does manage to stay alive with just a little sliver of HP there. As now the Ulfsark pushing across the map. He's got 7 Ulfsark in this one, as he's going to be looking to take this fight, but he's not paying attention there. The units coming through are going to start taking it. One Ulfsark falls before the start of the fight there, as the micro starting to come through by Shadowfaxx, as Skady retasks his units there into that fight, and now we see Shadowfaxx having to retreat back. If we take a look at this at the timer here, it's 6 minutes 30 into the game. Shadowfaxx is behind in terms of his population here. He should be way further in front. He's lost 1 Ulfsark only here, and he's got tons of wood in the bank as well. Definitely does not need to have 4 villagers on wood at this point here. There's just so many important things to optimize the Odin early game that you really got to be aware of, as we do see Skady trying to sneak through here. Shadowfaxx, he can drop a military building over here. Will we see a wall as well? A little bit of a wooden wall segment going down there, as Skady does decide to opt in over to the other side of the map there, dropping down the forest fire on this location as well by Shadowfaxx, as the units just get away. I mean, I'm just not a fan of this forest fire. Just hold the forest fire for a perfect opportunity. Like when you're in the middle of a fight, wedged up against a forest, use the forest fire. Not when the units are running by. We have seen a lot of damage. DPS has been dealt onto the Skady army, and the longer the game kind of goes on, these units that are low HP are going to start getting more HP. As Shadowfaxx moving in onto this position, going to get a Terma kill there. He will have to retreat away, though, as he loses an Ulfsark very fast, as the unit's going to come through here as well for Skady. And now Skady's got to be happy about the position he's in terms of surviving in this game. He survived the early game, but there's still 2 more timings he's got to be kind of worried about. Timing number 1 is going to be a frost timing, which is going to hurt him quite a bit, and obviously timing 2 is going to be that Ragnarok problem. So the ways around that is, 1, you catch the Norse player out going for a second gold mine, and that is obviously able to be dealt with fairly easily by the Odin player by getting to the heroic age in a timely fashion, as we do see medium infantry coming through. Skady now has the advantage in terms of population, as the units just roaming around the map here, preventing any sort of raids from coming through. As the units do come in, we do have a couple of thrown axemen here trying to help out on this location. Skady at this point getting himself medium infantry. This timing here that Skady can hit probably in the next minute or even in the next 20 seconds here when he gets medium infantry is going to be really tough to deal with. One thing that I wouldn't mind seeing from Skady once he puts that last house down is immediately throwing up an armory, or as fast as he possibly can, throwing up an armory and getting himself copper mail here as well. Same too for Shadowfaxx if he wants to stay in the classical age. Wouldn't be a bad idea, as we are seeing still some of those Terma getting sniped down. Obviously not the most important unit for Skady to have here in this game, So units taking this fight nicely. Skady does have the population advantage, but his army is split up. And you have to remember those Terma, they're not that useful. He's got 16 population in Terma, which are just not that useful. So Shadowfaxx can very simply take a fight here. You can see he's got 12, 4, that's 16 versus 18 Ulfsark infantry units. So who wins that fight there? In the end, you're probably going to be thinking that it's the Ulfsark are going to be winning the fight. But Shadowfaxx doesn't want to take it just yet. More houses want to come down. We do see some citizen making their way forward here to the giraffe. Lots of citizen actually coming forward here. That's 7 Imagine Forest Fire now, for example, as the units sitting back, watching, waiting, wishing, dreaming for a decent fight to take here. We'll see if Shadowfaxx can make it work as the units pushing forward. Lots of units out of position here. 7 Ulfsark versus 5 Murmilla. That's a good fight on that position there. Over here, not exactly sure who's going to be winning this one as the Promethean here targeting down the Valkyrie. Not exactly what you want to be doing there from this perspective of Shadowfaxx. That Valkyrie is vitally important in these fights as the Terma do get pulled back. The throw an axeman here for some reason targeting down Terma. Not exactly what he wants to have happen there as the Ulfsark's on the position, sitting idly by. That's 10 population there that Shadowfaxx doesn't have in this fight, but a very equal fight nonetheless after all is said and done. But it looks like Skady is going to be able to come out in front here as Shadowfaxx needs to retreat back. We do see the Ulfsark now coming through, trying to snipe down citizen on this position. Look at how many citizen are here. This is a very rare sight to see 7 citizen on these middle giraffe here, but obviously Skady wants to put everything into defending this. He needs some more military buildings down to repopulate his army, as the majority of this army is in Terma here, as we do see a shockwave coming in. Shadowfaxx still trying to micro this one as best as he can as the Ulfsark coming through, trying to get onto those Terma there as he does manage to do so. We do see this throw in action, retreating back ever so slightly, taking a lot of distraction away from the DPS of the Oranos army there. Population is still very, very close here as Shadowfaxx knows how important this center of the map is. He's also not hunting here. His idle villages are going to really, really hurt him moving forward as this fighting is so close knit here as the village is now starting to move forward onto the zebra there on that location as the army still coming through. 75 population apiece here as where are the rest of the units? It just seems like Shadowfaxx 8 idle, 10 idle units here in this fight. He needs to be aware that that's what's happening here as he's now falling behind a little bit in terms of the population. The Ulfsark coming through here for Shadowfaxx as now Skady realizes, wow, I'm not as far ahead of this fight as I thought, as the village is going to be pulling back here. He does have Rhinoceros over on that location as well, as Shadowfaxx here definitely could have been winning on that location, but did not quite manage to make it work as the Ulfsark moving back over here. We do see farms coming down on this position. It looks like Skady here, if you take a look, he doesn't realize his Rhino are on this position, so he's not going to be able to hunt those as the village is going to be garrisoning into the manor over there. Meanwhile, we do see the Murmilla raids coming through onto this position as Shadowfaxx is out of position there. Nice play from Skady, getting a little bit of damage done on this spot here as the village is going to turn around, take the fight as the villagers here dropping onto just random straggler trees, trying to get a little bit of resources in as all those villagers able to push back for the time being there. You can't do that too often because those villagers get lower and lower on HP as the Ulfsark pushing Skady back here. More Ulfsark coming in onto this position as the villagers get pushed back here. But Skady, he's on 100 population, so he's got the army advantage by quite a significant margin here as the units coming through. How many military buildings? He's got 3 military buildings, 1 throw an axeman, and 2 Ulfsark being trained. So it's a decent training time there, but he's so far behind on population. Will he be able to win these fights? There's also the Promethean here as the villagers getting sniped down there as well. These villagers over here getting dealt with by Promethean to boot here. Can Shadowfaxx win this fight in the middle of the map is the big question. Answer seemingly is just barely, but that Promethean is such a big unit here in this fight as well as the Ulfsark chasing around the Terma, the Murmilla chasing around the Ulfsark. There's a bit of cat and mouse going on there. So that just means that Skady is getting a lot of free DPS done actually. As the Promethean trying to get sniped down here, as Shadowfaxx, he definitely needs to get some Herser or some Valkyrie out on this position, as the villagers seemingly have really fallen flat here in this game. Skady's got 15 citizen to Shadowfaxx's 33 villagers here, as the Promethean here sitting idly by. We do see the Ulfsark coming in onto this position, going to be taken out the Terma as best as they possibly can, as the Thrown Axeman still getting chased down by the Terma, and Shadowfaxx in this game, after a very, very vital miss-army position, waypoint direction decision from Shadowfaxx, he wasn't able to keep his advantage here. He definitely had somewhat of an advantage here in this game, but having 10 idle units there meant that Skady was able to hold on, eat the entirety of these giraffe, and Shadowfaxx, when he probably should have been winning that fight, was losing or at least going equal. And when it comes down to it, the thing that makes Oranos strong is taking equal fights. If Skady, if Oranos, and if any Oranos player can take an equal fight, the general consensus here is that Oranos comes out on top. If you take an equal fight in the early game, Oranos comes out on top. And that just keeps on happening through the game. You never really want to take an equal fight. There are some exceptions, say Hades with the Hades shades. If you take an equal fight versus Oranos with Hades, then you also get an extra like shade every 5 units. So that kind of works. But Shadowfaxx not able to hold on here. And Skady gets the dub. Leveling the series 1-1. We get a 3-game series here. Super exciting. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.